In the bustling animal clinic, veterinarian Dr. Nolan thought it was just another day when he took in a matted stray cat. As he gently bathed the timid creature, his trained fingers felt something unexpected beneath the layers of fur. Dr. Nolan's eyes widened in shock, his usual composure slipping away, as he realized the urgency of the situation demanded an immediate call to 911. Dr. Nolan was hastily trying to get the wet and clumped-together fur out of the way. He was sure that he felt something very unusual on this stray cat, and he wanted to know what it was as soon as possible. He was not going to wait for this animal to dry up, and it did not take Nolan long to find what he was looking for. He felt it again, but he did not see it. When washing the cat, Dr. Nolan had felt something very hard, like there was something on the cat's skin like a tracker or something. But when he found it again, Nolan realized that it was actually under the skin. He also realized that it was much too large for it to be a chip. And then Nolan started to see other odd things in the cat. Close to where Dr. Nolan felt the hard bump in the cat, he also saw a small scare. It had clearly not been made long ago and was closed very well. It had to be done by another vet, or at least somebody experienced with surgery. But who would put something this big inside a cat? And what could it even be? Nolan was hesitant about what his best course of action was. The easiest way to find out what was inside this animal was, of course, to just put it under anesthetic and carefully cut it open to extract the object. But seeing as the animal had lived on the street for God knows how long, Dr. Nolan could not estimate how it was doing. A surgery, possibly very soon after a previous one, could be very dangerous for a cat. So he first wanted to try and learn more about what the object actually was. And to do that, his best option was to make an ultrasound of the animal so that he could roughly see what was under the skin of the cat. But the results could only show him so much. Dr. Nolan checked out the ultrasound images for about 15 minutes. What he could determine was that whatever was in the cat was man-made. Its align and the corners were too hard. It looked like a very small device of some sort, but one that he had never seen before. There was only one thing he knew for sure, and that was that this did not belong in an animal. Then suddenly, his phone got a message. A pop-up that it wanted to connect to a device. There was a Bluetooth source in the nearby area trying to connect to his phone. Nolan was not that tech-savvy and had not often seen this before. At least, not when he was not trying to do this himself with his headset or something. What also stood out to him was that it happened almost exactly when the clock struck 2 p.m., like the time had somehow triggered the request. His first instinct was to just deny it. Why would he want to connect to a Bluetooth device that he did not know the origin of? But then he realized something. Could this signal be coming from the device in the cat maybe? Dr. Nolan had worked so many days around this time, and it was not exactly a well-traveled area. And he had never gotten this request before. The only thing different today was the cat. And so, still, a bit reluctantly, Nolan decided to accept the request. Nolan's phone immediately gets sent a folder that he has to download. And now he is afraid that there might be a virus in the download, but he has gotten so far with this right now that he just decides to risk it. He knows his phone is supposed to have decent protection, but you can never know for sure until it is actually exposed to a threat. In the download link, Nolan does not have the impression that he is dealing with a virus. The file mostly contains pictures. He goes through them one by one and is shocked by the content. A lot of the pictures are something difficult to make out. But Nolan can see that there seem to be large groups of cats photographed in a dark room. There are also a couple of pictures taken out a window. He can see trees and other vegetation in them, like the house or the room the photographer is in, which is placed in the middle of a forest. Dr. Nolan has just no idea what the hell he is dealing with, but he knows one thing for sure, and that is that whatever is going on in here is not right. And the last picture of the selection proves those suspicions beyond any doubt. The last picture shows a wall with letters carved into it, and that word read very clearly, "Help." Dr. Nolan is baffled. There was, of course, the last thing he expected to happen today. Out of the kindness of his heart, he had taken in a street cat to clean it up, and now he was involved in whatever was going on here. Nolan felt like he only had one option, and that was to call 911 for help. He needs the police to be involved in this, as this is going way past his own capabilities. And when he is first brought in contact with the police, they are not all too convinced by his strange stories. They want to check something, and Nolan gets put on hold for a long time. Officer Eric arrives at Dr. Nolan's clinic with a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. The call he received was unusual, to say the least. A veterinarian suspecting something more in a stray cat than just poor health. As he enters the clinic, the buzz of activity and the familiar scent of antiseptics greet him. He finds Dr. Nolan, a look of earnest concern etched on his face, waiting with the stray cat in hand. Eric examines the cat closely, noting its matted fur and timid demeanor. Dr. Nolan then shows him the downloaded images from the transmitter, a sequence of blurry photos and confusing angles. As Eric sifts through them, his initial skepticism gives way to a growing sense of unease. Each image seems to hint at something larger, something carefully hidden and potentially dangerous. "It's definitely out of the ordinary," Eric finally says, breaking the tense silence. Dr. Nolan nods in agreement. The odd combination of high-tech equipment in a stray cat, coupled with the mysterious images, is too peculiar to be a mere coincidence. Eric acknowledges the need for a thorough investigation, his detective instincts now fully engaged. "We need to understand what we're dealing with here," Eric voices out loud. Dr. Nolan, equally puzzled and concerned, agrees. The two begin to discuss the potential implications of the findings, with Nolan providing his insights from a veterinary perspective and Eric contemplating the possible criminal angles. It's clear that their expertise, when combined, could lead to some much-needed answers. Together, they sketch out a plan. The immediate priority is to analyze the transmitter, to understand its purpose and, if possible, to track its origin. They also agree to further investigate the areas captured in the images. This strange case has brought them together, and now, as a team, they're ready to delve deeper into a mystery that grows more intriguing by the minute. Eric and Nolan, determined to gather more context, set out to speak with the locals near the clinic. They approach shopkeepers, pedestrians, and frequent visitors of the area, asking about anything unusual they might have noticed in recent weeks. Their questions are met with a mix of curiosity and concern, as residents recount various unusual occurrences, none directly connected, but collectively painting a picture of a neighborhood that's been on edge. Back at the police station, Eric and Nolan dive into recent missing persons reports. They scrutinize each case, searching for any possible connection to their current mystery. Hours pass as they meticulously sift through files, their eyes scanning for any detail that might provide a lead. The task is daunting, but their determination doesn't waver, driven by the knowledge that every piece of information could be crucial. An unexpected lead. Their break comes unexpectedly when a local shop owner, overhearing their investigation, approaches them. He speaks of strange activities he's witnessed in the forest area near the clinic, odd lights at night, unusual sounds. His account is hesitant but earnest, and Eric takes meticulous notes. This piece of information, though small, feels like the first real thread in a complex tapestry they are beginning to unravel. Nolan, upon hearing the shop owner's account, is reminded of similar oddities he's observed around the clinic, but had dismissed as irrelevant. He recounts instances of unusual animal behaviours and unexplained disturbances at night. These recollections, though seemingly insignificant alone, begin to form a coherent pattern when combined with the shop owner's story, adding depth to their investigation. With these new insights, Eric and Nolan come to a decision. They resolve to explore the forest area themselves, hoping to uncover more clues. They understand the risk involved in venturing into an unknown situation, but the pieces are falling into place too neatly to ignore. The mystery of the stray cat, the transmitter, and the forest seems to be interlinked, and they are determined to uncover the truth. Meanwhile, at the police station, the tech team begins their analysis of the transmitter. They employ a range of techniques from electronic scanning to forensic examination in an effort to unlock the device's secrets. The team works in a focused silence, understanding the potential implications their findings could have on the broader investigation led by Eric and Nolan. After hours of meticulous work, the tech team makes a crucial discovery. They successfully trace the signal emitted by the transmitter to a specific remote location in the forest. This breakthrough sends ripples of excitement through the team as they realize the significance of their finding. It's a solid lead, one that could potentially direct Eric and Nolan straight to the heart of the mystery. Further examination of the transmitter reveals its sophistication. It's an advanced piece of technology, not typically accessible to the average person. This realization adds a new layer of complexity to the case. Eric and Nolan ponder the implications. Who could have access to such technology? And more importantly, why was it implanted in a stray cat? With the location identified, Eric and Nolan review maps of the forest, strategizing their approach. They mark potential entry points, paths, and areas of interest. The map becomes a canvas for their plan, a visual guide to navigating the unknown terrain that lies ahead. They understand the challenges of navigating the dense forest, but their resolve is only strengthened by the progress they've made. As the day of the expedition approaches, Eric and Nolan gather the necessary equipment for their journey into the forest. They ensure they have everything they might need, from basic survival gear to specialized tools for investigation. They know that preparation is key in such unpredictable situations. With each item they pack, they are reminded of the seriousness of their undertaking and the potential dangers that await them. Eric and Nolan, realizing the importance of gathering more information, set up surveillance around the clinic. They install discrete cameras and take turns monitoring the feed, looking for any unusual activities. They know that understanding the pattern of movements around the clinic could provide crucial insights into the mystery they are unraveling. Continuing their investigation, they speak with more locals, uncovering tales of mysterious figures seen lurking in the forest. These stories, though varied, share a common thread of unease and suspicion. Each account adds another piece to the puzzle, helping Eric and Nolan to build a clearer picture of the strange occurrences surrounding the clinic and the nearby woods. Nolan taps into his network of pet owners, who often notice more than others. Their observations, from unusual pet behaviors to unexplained noises at night, provide additional leads. Nolan knows that in a close-knit community, even small details can be significant, and he values the trust his clients place in him. Back at the station, Eric and Nolan lay out all the evidence they've gathered. When viewed collectively, the reports, surveillance footage, and local testimonies begin to form a pattern of suspicious activities. This process of piecing together the puzzle is meticulous, but both understand its importance in getting to the bottom of the case. Determined to catch any nocturnal activities, Eric and Nolan spend a night observing the clinic. They take up a covert position, their eyes glued to night vision binoculars and screens showing live feeds. The night is long and filled with the sounds of the nocturnal world, and they note every unusual movement, however slight. With the location in the forest now confirmed, Eric's team finalizes the details of their journey. They map out their route, assign roles, and prepare contingency plans. It's a coordinated effort, with each member understanding the importance of their role in the mission. The team is united in their goal to uncover the truth hidden in the depths of the forest. As they plan, Eric and Nolan discuss the potential dangers they may face. They understand the unpredictability of venturing into unknown territory, especially one shrouded in mystery. Their conversation is sober and focused as they agree on the need for caution and the importance of being prepared for any eventuality. The day of the expedition arrives, and Nolan and Eric, accompanied by a small team, set off towards the forest. The atmosphere is tense but determined as they leave the familiarity of the town for the unknowns of the dense woodland. Each member carries a sense of responsibility, aware that every step they take brings them closer to potentially dangerous discoveries. As they navigate through the dense forest, the team finds subtle but clear traces of human activity: a discarded piece of cloth, footprints barely visible under the underbrush, and disturbed flora. These signs serve as silent guides, leading them deeper into the wilderness and further away from the safety and familiarity of their everyday lives. With each step towards the pinpointed location, the team's tension escalates. They move with increased caution, their senses heightened to every sound and movement in the forest. The closer they get, the more palpable the sense of anticipation becomes, mixed with an undercurrent of apprehension about what they might find. Back at the clinic, Nolan and Eric notice an uptick in suspicious activities. Vehicles lingering for too long, unfamiliar faces peering into the clinic. These observations don't go unnoticed. It's clear that their investigation is causing ripples and perhaps drawing unwanted attention. They document each incident, knowing that even the smallest detail could be a vital piece of the puzzle. In response to these developments, they begin discreetly gathering more information. They interview staff and locals who might have witnessed these odd occurrences, collecting descriptions and times. Each piece of information is meticulously logged, helping them build a clearer picture of the potential surveillance they're under. Feeling the eyes of an unseen observer upon them, Eric and Nolan prepare for a possible confrontation. They review safety protocols, ensuring that communications and backup are in place. It's a tense period, with both men aware that they might be stepping into a situation far more dangerous than they initially anticipated. Determined to catch their watcher, they conduct a nighttime surveillance of the clinic's perimeter. Hidden in the shadows, they keep a vigilant watch, their senses attuned to every sound and movement in the darkness. The night air is filled with the tension of the unseen, the unknown. During one such vigil, Eric spots a shadowy figure moving stealthily near the clinic. He follows, keeping his distance, but the figure vanishes as quickly as it appeared. It's a stark reminder of the seriousness of their investigation and the possible danger lurking just out of sight. Deep in the forest, the team stumbles upon a camouflaged house, almost invisible among the dense foliage. The discovery is startling, a clear sign of human habitation, yet there's an eerie stillness surrounding it. It stands as a silent guardian of secrets, nestled in the embrace of the forest. Approaching the house with caution, Nolan and Eric are acutely aware of the potential dangers. Every step is taken with careful deliberation, their eyes scanning for any signs of traps or surveillance. The house seems abandoned, but they know better than to let their guard down. Inside, they find a space that speaks of long-term habitation, personal belongings, food supplies, and other essentials. Yet, there's an unsettling absence of life. It's as if the inhabitants vanished, leaving behind a shell filled with unanswered questions and secrets. To their surprise, the house is filled with cats. Each room they enter reveals more felines, all well-fed and cared for. The scene is surreal. Amidst the mystery and tension, this house has been a haven for these animals. The question now is, who has been taking care of them and why? Nolan and Eric begin their search for clues, the silence of the house amplifying the intensity of their task. Every open drawer, every examined item could bring them closer to understanding the strange events they've been drawn into. The stillness of the house is a stark contrast to the chaos of questions swirling in their minds. In the house's shadowed corners, Nolan and Eric find a securely locked basement door. With effort and determination, they manage to break the lock, steeling themselves for what they might find. As the door creaks open, a wave of apprehension washes over them, the darkness below promising answers to the myriad questions that have brought them to this forsaken place. Descending into the dimly lit basement, they discover the vet, weak but alive. His appearance is disheveled, his eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and relief. It's a moment of stark realization for Nolan and Eric. The case they've been unraveling is more sinister and complex than they had imagined. The vet's presence confirms their worst suspicions and ignites a new urgency in their mission. The vet, gathering his strength, shares his harrowing tale. He speaks of his abduction, his confusion, and eventual realization of his captor's intentions. He describes days that turned into weeks, forced to care for a multitude of cats in isolation, his hope dwindling with each passing moment. His story is one of survival against overwhelming odds, a testament to his resilience. In a moment of desperation, the vet reveals he devised a plan. He implanted the transmitter into one of the cats, hoping it would lead someone to his hidden prison. It was a last resort effort, fueled by the slim hope that the cat would be found and his plight uncovered. His ingenuity under such dire circumstances leaves Nolan and Eric both astounded and deeply moved. Their discovery also confirms another unsettling fact: the captor is not there. His absence suggests a hasty departure, likely aware of their closing in. This realization leaves them with more questions than answers. Who was this captor? What were his motives? And most importantly, where has he vanished to? The team quickly shifts their focus to assisting the vet. They provide him with medical care, offering food and water and reassuring him of his safety. These first moments of freedom are fragile and precious, a stark contrast to the darkness and despair of his captivity. His rescue marks a significant victory for Nolan and Eric, but they know their work is far from over. As the vet gains strength, he begins to share more details about his ordeal. He describes the captor, though he never saw his face, and recounts the few interactions they had. His descriptions are vague, but every detail helps to build a profile of the man responsible for this bizarre and cruel act. Nolan, listening intently, begins to understand the crucial role the cats played in the vet's survival. They were not just his responsibility, they were his companions in solitude, his reason to maintain hope. It's a poignant realization of how these animals unknowingly became lifelines in a dark, desperate situation. With the vet's account, Nolan and Eric discuss the potential motives behind the kidnapping. The complexity of the situation unfolds before them, revealing a tangled web of possibilities. Was this an act of random cruelty or part of a larger, more sinister scheme? The questions multiply, but so does their determination to unravel this mystery. Resolved to bring the captor to justice, Eric and Nolan plan their next steps. They decide to continue the search for the elusive captor, armed with the new information provided by the vet. The case has taken on a new dimension, and they are more committed than ever to solving it, not just for the vet's sake, but for the safety of the community. In the safety of the clinic, the rescued vet expresses his heartfelt gratitude to Nolan and Eric. His voice trembles with emotion as he thanks them for not only saving his life, but also for giving him back his freedom. He acknowledges that without their persistence and dedication, he might never have escaped his grim fate. This moment of gratitude is poignant, reflecting the deep human connection forged in the face of adversity. Despite the success of the rescue, Nolan, Eric, and the police team know their work is not done. The search for the elusive kidnapper continues, with the team combing through evidence and following up on leads. They are determined to find the person responsible, to prevent any future atrocities, and bring closure to the vet's harrowing experience. In a quiet moment, Nolan and Eric reflect on the case. They ponder the bizarre and unexpected turns it took, from a simple act of caring for a stray cat to uncovering a kidnapping. The case challenged them, pushed them to their limits, and revealed the unpredictability of their work. They find themselves contemplating the complexities of human nature and the resilience of the spirit in the face of darkness. The experience has created an unbreakable bond between Nolan, Eric, and the vet. They shared moments of uncertainty, fear, and ultimately triumph. This bond, forged in the crucible of their shared ordeal, goes beyond professional respect. It's a deep personal connection, a mutual understanding of what they've endured and overcome together. A story of hope and determination. As the narrative comes to a close, the story stands as a testament to hope and determination. Despite the odds, the resilience and dedication shown by Nolan, Eric, and the vet led to a successful resolution. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are glimmers of light, and that courage and perseverance can lead to unexpected and triumphant outcomes.
If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.